after a tornado swept through Lamar, Missouri. Residents are now working to pick up the pieces. I'm Melissa Alexis, and I'll have the story coming up.
Plus, we detail plans for affordable housing at the site of the old Freeman Hospital in Joplin.
Pope Francis is set to lie in state as preparations are underway for his funeral. I'm Lauren Green in Vatican City. I'll have the latest details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Lamar, Missouri community is working to pick up the pieces after an EF0 tornado swept through on Easter Sunday. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. KOAM's Melissa Alexis spoke to a Lamar resident about how they are dealing with the aftermath of the storms.
Leroy Voorhees is a Lamar, Missouri resident, and he was enjoying his Easter Sunday with his loved ones visiting and gathered at his house.
Some of them just stood outside on the porch for a while and then made them come in.
They had to come inside because the day was about to take a turn. A tornado was tearing toward their home.
It started getting darker out, and then the wind started blowing real hard, and it started raining.
He says he remembers hearing the sound of the wind even from inside his house.
Daughter, she was a little afraid, and she went in her bedroom and opened up the closet doors, so in case something was going to happen, she could go in there.
And now, in the aftermath of the tornado, Voorhees and his wife are picking up what the EF0 left behind.
We're just kind of cleaning up right now, getting the limbs picked up.
And Voorhees isn't the only Lamar resident with damage in their yard. This resident has a toppled over tree in their yard with roots and dirt exposed. I'm 5'8" for reference, and I'm going to try to stand as close as I can to this tree just so you can see how massive it is.
Tree limbs and some damage to a few homes. I think our biggest issue is just the power outages. People have been in the dark for a couple days.
Rusty Reeves, the Lamar City Administrator, says the city is actively working to restore power for residents.
Whenever you start dealing with power outages and removing people's life comforts, it changes their lifestyle. And not knowing what businesses are going to be open and what resources are going to have available, that plays a high emotional toll on people. So we've been trying to put out a message the best we can on what's going on and what's going to have power and what's not, so people can help plan their daily lives.
And now the community is coming together to support each other through cleanup, providing food, and power restoration.
Salvation Army, Red Cross, and our electric crews that have come in to assist us. That's just been a challenge that we've dealt with.
Reporting in Lamar, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Reeves says the city plans to evaluate how these days following the tornado are handled so they can make improvements as needed if another tornado happens. Well, the National Weather Service has also confirmed it was a tornado that tore through Jasper County this weekend. The NWS says an EF1 tornado touched down just north of Galena, causing damage to multiple trees and roofs before crossing the Missouri border west of Belleville. It continued through Carl Junction before lifting near the intersection of County Road 210 and H Highway. Cleanup efforts continue there also. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at weather.
Well, thankfully, we've had a little bit of a break with showers and thunderstorms over the past couple days, but we kind of get back into the action over the next few days. Severe thunderstorms out from Wichita west, so west of I-34-5, but this cluster is heading toward us, but it should weaken as it starts to push into southeastern Kansas. But we are going to have some hit and miss storms as we go through the overnight hours. Very hit and miss, but a few rumbles of thunder with some of the stronger storms kind of pushing through. But overall, I think the general trend is that these are going to be falling apart as they push in. But a few of you will get a little bit of rain later on tonight. Look at this for the month, 6¼ inches of rain. We've had the flash flooding across the region. Warm today, 81. Average high is 71 degrees. Looking outside right now, we're into the mid 60s. We're not going to drop off much tonight. More rain in the forecast. We'll look at that here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, plans are underway for an affordable housing development at the site of the old Freeman Hospital in Joplin. Last night, the Joplin City Council unanimously approved the removal of asbestos and demolition of the vacant building. KOAM's Samantha Walker has the details on what's next for the location.
For years, the old Freeman building on South Sargent has sat vacant, deteriorating over time. Joplin city officials say the building was unlikely to ever be rehabbed since it no longer qualified for preservation tax credits. That's due to the number of times it's been modified.
It's been an issue for everyone. I mean, that's 20th Street corridor. It's so visible. People see that blight, and I've seen it for many years. So now we have a great opportunity to get it down and put that space back in production, especially with affordable housing.
The former owners of the site, the Kraft family, donated the land to the Economic Security Corporation, known as ESC, who plans to develop affordable housing there. The main targets for that housing will be veterans and seniors.
As a nonprofit, one of the hardest things to getting affordable housing is finding land at a reasonable cost to where we can do that. We were able to get that donation.
The development will be a three-way partnership between the city, ESC, and Habitat for Humanity and its Joplin Economic Housing Development Initiative, known as JEDI. They already have plans for what they want to build.
We would like to build 3 two-story duplexes at the location. These would be rentals under JEDI. We've built one at 311 North Joplin here recently in partnership with Economic Security. We have a good relationship with them.
The city will be using American Rescue Plan Act funding for the demolition of the old building. Bolander says funding to build the affordable housing will come from a city program that receives funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
With inflation, material costs, labor costs have all increased drastically. So it has priced some people out of the market. So anytime we can get more affordable housing and people into those homes, it's a good thing for Joplin.
The three partners hope the project will revitalize the Joplin area.
Talking all the time about what we can do together to help improve the community.
Reporting in Joplin, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
City staff say they do not yet have any sort of timeline for when the process of demolition will begin. They plan to begin meeting with contractors soon. As the influence of artificial intelligence continues to shape the world around us, Pitt State hosts its first ever symposium to address the potential impacts in the classroom and the workforce. AI in academia and the workforce, exploring the impact and implications, featured panelists from a variety of disciplines to discuss the evolving role of AI in education, research, and other professional fields.
Actually have a simulator that we are able to use AI. He's programmed with AI, and so we can kind of give him like a story. We can give him a personality, and then the students will come in and they will start interviewing him, and he will just come up with his own answers.
Attendees could participate in a Q&A session following the panel discussion. Well, coming up, Russia says it's ready for peace talks.
Vladimir Putin says he's ready for peace talks with Ukraine, but the Ukrainians say they're not buying it. I'm Greg Palcott in London. That's my story coming up.
But first in Health Watch, it's Earth Day. We look at small changes you can make today that will not only benefit the planet, but also your mental and physical health. It's Earth Day, a time to bring awareness to ways we can all help our environment. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to a doctor about healthy habits that also help Earth.
It's the only home we have, but caring for Earth and your health are two things you can do at once.
I think it's a win-win situation.
Dr. Sophia Asphalt with Cleveland Clinic says small changes can make a big difference for your body and mind and your planet. First, get outside and enjoy it by biking, walking, or running more. You can get to where you're going without relying on a vehicle, which reduces emissions into the air.
And these improve our physical health by improving weight management. It could also improve our cardiovascular health. It may even lower cholesterol levels.
Asphalt says to also consider changes to your diet. Buying local, fresh fruits and veggies can help you eat healthy and reduce food transportation emissions. She says to also think about moving towards a more plant-based diet to reduce your carbon footprint and give you healthy alternatives.
While not everyone wants to have a solely plant-based food diet, it may be an important part of a healthy, balanced diet.
Finally, Asphalt says focus on green hobbies like gardening or even planting trees. These activities can promote physical and mental health by getting you moving outside in nature, and you may even grow your own healthy food.
No thing is too small, and collectively we can all make a difference for our health and for the health of our planet.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, Dr. Asfaw says good habits at home can also help us be more financially healthy while helping the planet. Try turning off the lights when they're not in use, using shorter cycles on washers and dryers, turning off water while you're lathering up with soap or brushing teeth, and setting thermostats to eco mode, and drinking water from reusable water bottles instead of plastic. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, a Missouri community is making repairs to its storm sirens after finding a number of them weren't working during last weekend's storms.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. Quite a bit of sunshine, 80, 81 for an afternoon high. Pretty good temps and a really nice evening out there for us right now. It looks like we'll see a pretty nice night. We are tracking a few thunderstorms to our west, which may try to get in later on tonight. Most of you are going to end up staying dry. Mid to upper 60s out there right now. I think with our light southerly wind, we only drop back maybe 58 to about 60 later on tonight. But look at the thunderstorms erupt out across central Kansas. There's a dry line out across western Kansas. So the farther away from that dry line they get, they're going to start to lose their energy. So as they push into southeastern Kansas, they will start to weaken, meaning I'm not expecting severe weather in our neck of the woods, but we are going to get some scattered showers and thunderstorms pushing in here as we get into late evening into the overnight hours. You can see these stretch all the way down into parts of Texas, and we have these weak little waves kind of kicking out. You can see little ripples in our upper level flow. So weak waves heading toward us over the next 2 or 3 days, but it keeps those thunderstorm chances around in the forecast. Let's go through time. Here's in a couple hours, scattered thunderstorms trying to get into southeastern Kansas and then kind of falling apart. Let's go into the morning hours. Nice quick warm up, mid 70s by noon. I think most of us similar to today, about 80 degrees. But look at this. Spotty scattered thunderstorms again, most likely not severe, but a few stronger ones with these little pop-up thunderstorms that get going late tomorrow afternoon into the evening. So we're looking at about 6, 7 p.m. Once we lose the heating of the day, these thunderstorms just kind of fall apart. And then once again, pretty quiet through the overnight hours tomorrow night. Once again, Thursday, thunderstorms to our west. We're going to watch some of these guys trying to march in Thursday afternoon. Again, some of these could be stronger, maybe low-grade severe on Thursday afternoon, but wherever we get any rain, we got to be careful because the ground is so saturated across the region. We don't want to deal with any more flash flooding. And then again on Friday, we start the day with scattered showers and thunderstorms and then dry out as we go through the day. 75 on Wednesday by noon, 80 for an afternoon high. We also have a pretty good severe risk. This is next week, so this is going to be a multi-day event. So picking up late Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday. Right now, it looks like our best shot to get severe weather is going to be on Tuesday of next week. 80 for a high tomorrow, 75 Thursday, 75 on Friday. Hit and miss storms. A few storms late on Saturday into Sunday morning, but the bulk of the weekend looks pretty good. And then those thunderstorm chances increasing again late Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with that severe threat.
All right, a lot to keep our eye on, that's for sure.
It's active.
Oh, all right, thanks, Doug. Well, a Missouri community is making repairs to its tornado sirens after finding out most were not fully functioning during last weekend's severe storms. Adam Woodbury takes us to Kabul to find out what was behind the malfunctions and what's being done to keep it from happening again.
And we never had any issues until this time with these new sirens.
Repairs underway today in Kabul to bring the city's tornado sirens back in order. When Sunday's severe storm rolled in, people found out they couldn't hear the sirens going off.
You know, at least some of them went off, but you know, people still weren't able to hear it. And granted, they're not designed for people inside your house to hear.
Stacy Monter is the city's electric supervisor and previously served as the safety coordinator for the Office of Emergency Management.
The one at City Hall was working, the other one, what we call it, the 5th Street, was working.
But it turns out, Monter said, the batteries in the 5th Street siren and the one by the high school were the culprits. He said he actually lives near the high school siren and was wondering why it wasn't making any noise during the storm.
The one at the high school, and it was a battery that was basically blown up inside of it. That's what operates the sound.
And he says the 5th Street one was still working, but the tone wasn't right. In fact, off camera, I spoke to a person who lives nearby who said all he could hear was a low humming sound. When asked about having the sirens tested, Monter said they used to test them regularly, but it's been about a year since they last were, due to changes in the Office of Emergency Management. But the city was able to quickly get the parts they needed to make the repairs right away.
They said they was going to bring the stuff down, and they was supposed to be here this week, and they ended up coming today, and they should be done today.
The Kabul Fire Department declined an interview, but going forward, the police department says on its Facebook page it will be testing the sirens every second Tuesday of the month. Well, coming up, tension in Tinseltown.
Is it the final curtain call for Hollywood film productions? Why some are saying Tinseltown could become the next Detroit. That's coming up.
He wrote.
Movie and TV production is quickly moving away from Hollywood. Fox Business correspondent Max Gordon has more on why people are saying LA could become the next Detroit.
Much like how the departure of the auto industry from Detroit really hollowed out that city, some folks are concerned that the same thing could happen to Hollywood and the greater Los Angeles area. Right now, we're standing in an old theater, really a remarkable space. And this place has been the setting for many movies and TV shows, a popular filming location. But right now, nothing is filming here. Really, this follows a trend that we're seeing in the Los Angeles area, and we talked to the location agency that represents this theater about what they're seeing.
A lot of the smaller companies I know are unfortunately struggling to the point where they're having to call it a day in this industry, and especially for the people that work here. I've hired countless people over the years, and it's getting harder and harder for below-the-line crew to find work.
In 2021, a COVID year, first quarter shoot days were at 7,011. Last year, coming off the SAG-AFTRA strike, shoot days were at 6,823. And this year, that number is down to 5,295, a difference of over 22% from a year ago. While some of the decline is attributed to the Palisades and Eaton fires, Film LA says the loss of shoot days is primarily due to global production cutbacks and California's ongoing loss of work to other locations. Hollywood's lost productions not only to other states like Georgia and New York, but also to other countries like Canada and Ireland. Industry experts say California needs to cut regulations and increase incentives to lure productions back.
People feel like, well, why does Hollywood need handouts from the government? Like, they're rich. They're all a bunch of rich people. It's like, that's not true at all. You know, this is my backyard. I live in South LA. I've lived here for 21 years. And I'm worried about my next house payment, just like anybody else.
One potential lifeline is California Governor Gavin Newsom's proposal to expand the state's film and tax credit program to $750 million. But according to the nonpartisan Legislative Analyst's Office, while boosting the amount of money in the incentive program would somewhat increase the size of the motion picture industry in California, it would likely not result in economic benefits to the state as a whole. Meanwhile, some producers complain that it's simply too expensive to shoot here in California, but proponents of film in the Golden State say there's no substitute for the experience of the crews as well as the variety of locations. In Los Angeles, Max Gordon, Fox Business.
Well, Crowder College opened a new chapter on its annual used book sale today. The college's Lee Library Director says all types of books are up for sale, including children's books and hardcover fiction. Funds from the sale help the Friends of the Library purchase equipment, books, book lecture speakers, and special events throughout the year. Well, up next, a local VFW honors the family of a fallen firefighter. We take you to the ceremony next.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. As the Catholic faithful mourn the passing of Pope Francis, preparations are underway for his funeral and the conclave that will determine his successor. Lauren Green reports from Vatican City.
The crowds are getting bigger in Vatican City as people pay their respects to Pope Francis, and preparations begin for the late pontiff's funeral. Francis will be laid to rest this Saturday in a more modest ceremony, reflecting the leadership style he carried as Pope. Breaking with tradition, he'll be buried at St. Mary Major Basilica, outside the Vatican, and home to his favorite icon, the Virgin Mary. Many remembering him as a leader who sought to connect the church with regular people.
I think it's a big loss for not just for the Vatican City, but for the entire world.
I do think he was very outspoken on issues. I think his message to political leaders is very important.
Meanwhile, cardinals have begun arriving at the Vatican to attend Francis's funeral and prepare for the conclave, the closed-off secret ballot process of selecting the new pope. The Vatican says around 60 cardinals participated in the first meeting Tuesday. 135 are eligible to participate in the conclave, but only 120 will be selected to vote, and that selection process is secretive. The Pope's legacy will weigh heavily on their decision as they decide the best path forward for the Church. Many of them appointed by Francis himself, and may seek to choose a successor who continues his progressive approach. The public viewing of Pope Francis is expected to begin Wednesday morning, when he is set to lie in state in St. Peter's Basilica. In Vatican City, Lauren Green, Fox News.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is playing some defense of his own following new reports accusing him of sharing sensitive military plans with family members. From his nomination to leading the Pentagon, Hegseth's time as Defense Secretary has been marked by controversy. He's accused of sharing sensitive attack plans in group chats not once, but twice. And 3 of his top aides have been shown the door over reported leaks to the media. Hegseth is facing an Inspector General investigation over possible misuse of classified information. Democrats are calling on him to resign, and even some Republicans are starting to share concerns. President Trump is standing by him, though, while his team denies reports he's looking for a replacement. As the fighting in Ukraine grinds on, Vladimir Putin makes an about-face, saying he's ready to make a deal. Greg Palcott has the latest.
Do you think Russia and Ukraine can get a deal?
There's a chance. There's a very good chance.
President Trump says he's inching closer to a ceasefire agreement between Ukraine and Russia. And late Monday, he got a big boost from his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, making a U-turn, saying he's now ready to start peace talks, claiming he wants to make a deal with President Trump as early as this week. At the same time, Putin says he's seeing signs the Ukrainians are regrouping for a major counteroffensive, which he says won't go unanswered.
We have to think, of course, and carefully evaluate everything and look at the results.
The ceasefire proposal reportedly includes security guarantees for Ukraine, as well as American recognition of Crimea as Russian territory. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is urging the West to reject the deal, claiming Putin is stalling, and he'll break any peace agreements he signs.
We know what we're defending, we know what we are fighting for, and what is at stake.
The diplomatic push comes just a few days after President Trump said the U.S. would back away from negotiations if progress wasn't made. But it remains to be seen if Putin is serious about this new round of talks or if he's just biding his time.
It is a very big deal, and I think even the fact that he's enunciating something like that is testament to the frustration that President Trump expressed publicly with both sides this week.
President Trump says he'll reveal the details of the proposed peace plan sometime in the next 3 days. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, celebrating our Mother Earth.
MSU hosts an event to honor Earth Day. I'm Lonnie Walton in Joplin. I'll have that story coming up.
Princess never.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a great Tuesday for us today. Quite a bit of sunshine across the region. Looks great. We have a pretty good evening. We are tracking a few thunderstorms to our west, but overall, most of us looking pretty good. Look at our temperatures. Mid to upper 60s. We'll only drop back near 60 later on tonight, so it stays mild across the region. Look at the thunderstorms, mainly south of Wichita and the western parts of Oklahoma. There's a dry line way out there. It's not really moving, but it's produced these thunderstorms. As they get a little bit farther away from the dry line, they start to weaken. So as this batch works in, yeah, we're going to get some scattered showers, especially southeastern Kansas, but they're going to fall apart or weaken as they continue to push in. A little bigger batch once you get out across the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. This is all caused by weak upper level waves. You can see little ripples in the upper level flow. So we aren't seeing any big storm systems, but enough that we're going to see showers and thunderstorms kind of fire it off over the next few days. Going through time, those hit and miss storms kind of working through over the next several hours. Most of you will stay dry. Let's go through the morning. Mid 70s by noon. We'll stop at about 4:30 or 5 p.m. Most of us about 80. Very similar to what we saw today. Hit and miss scattered storms popping up late in the afternoon into the evening. Some of these could be a little stronger, maybe some small hail. Most likely will stay below that severe limit, and then they'll start to fall apart again as we get into Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. Thursday, much of the same. Let's go mid to upper 70s. Scattered thunderstorms again, a little bit more widespread on Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening, and then even a batch of thunderstorms to start the day as we head into your Friday. All right, day planner tomorrow, 75 by noon. High temp right around 80 degrees. Bigger severe weather chance is going to move in late Monday, Tuesday, into Wednesday of next week. So that's our next bigger threat, even though we have smaller threats this week. This is going to be our bigger threat across the region. Let me show you why. We're going to look at the upper level flow, look at all the weak waves pushing through this week, finally exit. Look at the bigger system, western third of the country, big upper level low. One of those big wind makers that we saw, especially in the month of March. So by late Monday, some thunderstorms may try to get in here, but a much better chance for strong to severe thunderstorms working in on Tuesday into Wednesday. So we need to keep our eyes on that. Plus, we could see quite a bit of rain over about the next week or so. Of course, we've already had the flash flooding, but another 1, 2, 3, 4 inches, very likely across most of the region. 80 on Wednesday, 75s Thursday and Friday. Rain chances sticking around even into the weekend.
But those pop-up storms on Saturday don't seem like too big of a deal?
Yeah, mainly late in the day.
So. Late in the day? All right, well, enough rain to spoil your plans probably.
It's true. It's very true.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up in sports, Carl Junction High School hires a new athletic director. Plus, Fairland slow pitch softball hopes to repeat as district champions. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
It is district tournament time for slow pitch softball in Oklahoma, and Fairland comes in as the number 7 ranked team in all of Class 3A. The Lady Owls are the host for the 3-team tournament, and they win their opener over Barnstable 12-0. You have to win 3 games to be district champion, and the Lady Owls win their second contest as well. That was 12-1 over Holbert, leaving them 1 victory away from a district title. And that sets up a rematch between Fairland and Holbert. Lady Owls get 2 tries to earn 1 more win and become district champions, but they get right to it. Already leading 9-1 in the third, Mia Ross hits a line drive into shallow center. Bella Renfro scores easily. That RBI single makes it 10-1 Owls. Couple batters later, Callie Moncada crushes this pitch to straightaway center. That bounces off the base of the wall. Another run will score. It's now 11-1. We're still in the third. Aubrey Kinsey sends this over the pitcher's head into center field. Lady Owls lead 13-1, and they're closing in on a second straight district title. Now in the fourth, Fairland leading 15-1. Adeline Lawler blasts one to deep left and way gone for a 2-run homer. The Lady Owls win the final game of the tournament 18-1 over Holbert. They're back-to-back slow-pitch district champions. In its 3 games today, Fairland outscores opponents by a total of 42-2. Now they move on to regionals next week. Carl Junction High School announces this afternoon that Katie Cummins has been hired as its new athletic director and assistant principal. She currently serves as junior high activities director and PE teacher with the Neosho School District. She'll take over at the start of next school year after Rich Neria retires. CJ Superintendent David Pyle says, quote, "I'm excited for the impact her energy and experience will have on our high school athletic and activity programs." Pittsburgh State baseball is ranked number 19 in the country. The Gorillas had their historic winning streak snapped on Friday, but they've still come out on top in 15 of their last 16 contests. Tonight they try to finish off a series sweep of Missouri Southern. The Lions don't let that happen though. Tragan Parker hits a walk-off 3-run homer to cap a 5-run bottom of the 9th inning, and Southern takes down Pitt State in a thriller. Final score 12-9. PSU takes 2 out of 3 though from the Lions in the season series. Well, the 2025 MIAA Men's Golf Championship in Jeff City gets started today. Pitt State, Missouri Southern, and the rest of the conference play 18 holes this morning, then 18 more this afternoon before the final round tomorrow. Now here's a look at the individual leaderboard after the first 2 rounds. Jeremy Tandoy from Arkansas Fort Smith, he's in the lead at 7 under par. Britt Coy from Missouri Southern is tied for 14th at 1 over, as is Carson Toey from Pitt State. On the team leaderboard, Central Oklahoma in first place at 3 under. Missouri Southern is in 6th at 13 over. Pitt State in 10th at 21 over par. And closing things out with a look at the NBA playoffs, the Thunder cruised to a 118-99 victory over the Grizzlies at home tonight. That gives them a 2-0 series lead. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams, all of them scored 20 points or more for OKC. And 2 games into the playoffs, it's worked pretty well for the Thunder. 2 blowout victories. They're bringing that success from the regular season into the postseason.
Was this game like a big lead all the way through, or just
pretty
at
much.
the end?
They got an early lead and did not look back.
All right. Well, we're back with more news after this. Missouri Southern takes the lead in going green for Earth Day. Today, the campus hosted an event to educate the community about the importance of sustainability. KOAM's Lonnie Walton takes us there.
Today is Earth Day, and even though there are damages to our Earth, there are ways to make it a better place.
I open my car door and a newspaper or something flies out, or a receipt flies out, and then I have to chase it across the parking lot looking like an idiot,
Peyton Randolph is a senior at Missouri Southern studying environmental health and safety. He says an event like this sustainability event, used to educate the public about a healthier environment, is crucial, just like picking up your own trash.
It might drift around that parking lot for a few days, and then it rains, and it goes down the storm drain. Well, where does that lead? It dumps into the nearest creek, which dumps into the nearest river, which goes into Grand Lake.
Professor of Biology and Environmental Health Teresa Bowen says things like this adds up when it comes to keeping the environment healthy.
Simple daily practices of choosing to not use a straw when you're at a fast food restaurant and just drink out of your cup with no lid and no straw. That is a simple act that can immediately save microplastics from entering into our environment.
And she says there's even more simple things that can help the environment.
Talking about turning the water off while you brush your teeth, or turning the lights off when you leave a room.
And of course, we have to ask Baxter Spring Park goers, what do they do to keep the environment safe?
Keep our parks and lakes all clean and pick up their trash when they leave.
Okay.
Don't litter in the parks, and if you carry it in, carry it out.
Peyton says it all starts with education.
Talk about it, recognize these issues, and then give each other a little bit of hope.
And leaders say making the environment a better place starts with one person at a time. Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Students 5th through 12th grade got the chance to compete in a science competition at the event. The event was free to the public, and drinks and refreshments were also provided. Up next, we get a first look at the new horror movie Weapons, plus Sinners is a box office success. Those stories and more coming up in Hollywood Nation. A horror movie tops the box office, a first look at another on the way, a WWE series, and more, all in today's Hollywood Nation. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
A mysterious first look, WWE behind the scenes, and a supernatural hit are in today's Hollywood Nation.
I don't believe in magic.
Ryan Coogler's Sinners took the #1 spot at the box office with $45.6 million. The film stars Michael B. Jordan as twins who return to their hometown where an evil awaits them. It earned a 98% on the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter, the first A cinema score for a horror film, and the Critics' Choice Seal of Distinction. Variety is expanding its Actors on Actors franchise to include the first ever Broadway edition. The lineup includes George Clooney of Good Night and Good Luck, The Roommates, Patti LuPone, Audra McDonald of Gypsy, Jake Gyllenhaal from Othello, and Kieran Culkin of Glengarry Glen Ross. Conversations will be released April 22nd through the 26th.
This is a calculated, coordinated production.
Today's First Looks gets in the ring with WWE Unreal. Netflix announced the 10-episode show, which for the first time puts audiences into the WWE writer's room with WWE superstars. It premieres this summer.
Those kids walked out of those homes. No one pulled them out.
Plus, there's a look at the horror flick Weapons, about a group of children from the same class, all but one mysteriously vanishing on the same night at the same time, and their community questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. The cast includes Josh Brolin and Julia Garner. It's in theaters August 8th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of one of the newest additions at the Milwaukee Zoo, a baby porcupine. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.